Good morning, 6:15 right now. Live picture, Lady Bird Lake. Look at the fog out there. Could be some issues driving into work this morning. Rosie and Amanda both working that, so we'll check in with them in a bit. But first, it's Friday, so that means we're wrapping up all the action at Austin City Hall meeting last night. Here to break it down for us is Mike KXAN, publisher of the Austin Monitor. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's start with the issue out at COTA, the close call for the Moto Grand Prix and the X Games. What's going on there with that?
So the council has to endorse it's a sort of convoluted thing where council endorses the idea of this incentives package application, and to do that they have to take a vote, and when they took the vote it was a lot closer, I think, than we're used to seeing them when it comes to these things. And I think one of the, what's at the heart of this is that this council has really yet to weigh in on how they feel about the incentives that come from the state, and we should be clear they come from the state, in relation to some of these events. And I think that they wanted to take a turn to take a quick swipe at how this gets done. So we saw a 6-4 vote that ended up actually backing the application, but it was interesting to see sort of how it broke down and the concerns from council members about what happens with the money.
Sure. So another issue that has been kind of bubbling for a while, this idea of short-term rentals. They were going to take it up. They decided to delay it. Why the delay on that?
Mayor's off the dais. Mayor was in Boston, I believe, at a Harvard conference for mayors, sort of a mayor school, I think is what they call it. And they wanted a full dais to really get these new regulations in place. As you pointed out, it's been about a year for these things, and I think that there's some amount of impatience down at City Hall. They want to get it done. Of course, there's some concern on all of the advocates' side, and I think that there was a moment actually yesterday where it looked like they were going to delay it past the new year, but I think we're going to at least get some portion of it done next week.
All right, so this is an issue that affects a lot of people, talking about the ride-sharing things, these new regulations. Now, Uber and Lyft threatening to pull out of Austin if these things like the fingerprint background checks get passed. How real do you think that threat is, or that possibility is?
I think there's some reality there. The fingerprints really are a big deal to these folks, and I think that they just sort of don't want to set a precedent. We will certainly see, because I think it's also likely that we're gonna make some rules next week that may not make some people happy. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens there.
Somebody's not going to be happy, either the taxi cab drivers or the Uber drivers. Totally. One of them.
That's how it goes, right?
And they're taking that up next week, correct?
They are taking that up next week. Yeah, it's going to be something of an epic meeting in council land next week. All
right. Well, I'm assuming you'll be all over it then.
All night.
All right, Mike KXAN, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.